What's up, America? This is Kim with Geauga Firearms Academy. Thanks for watching. Today we're going to talk about tips for buying your first handgun. So let's get started. One mistake that new shooters often make is that they go to buy their first gun and their neighbor, their uncle, their whoever who's a cop tells them they have to get a Glock. A common misconception is that cops are shooters, and most cops are not shooters. In fact, the only gun they've ever shot is a Glock because that's what they're issued. It's not like the departments pick them because they're the highest quality.
All right, guys, let me jump in here real quick. So here's the thing. Again, not a Glock hater, but you have to understand that a department picks a Glock not because the quality is so much superior to another brand, like it's better than that brand. It just happened to be cost effective, widely used, easy parts, lots of armors. So it's a good fit for a lot of departments. But just understand that they're not picking it because it's superior per se than say Smith & Wesson, for example. It's just that it's a really cost-effective way for them to get a lot of guns out to their patrol units.
Now, before the troll hordes release and they all get mad at me, we don't hate Glocks. We have nothing against them. If you shoot them well and you like them and you enjoy them, great, that's awesome. But it's like saying everyone has to drive a Ford or a Chevy or a Ram. Everyone's different and you have to pick what fits you best.
Guys, one of the pet peeves we always talk about is when folks automatically assume if they're going to buy a firearm for, say, their girlfriend, wife, whatever, a female typically, that the guy automatically goes and buys them a revolver because they can't rack the slide or whatever nonsense, okay? Shame on you, number one. Number two, you obviously know nothing about guns. And number three, you're giving your whoever, wife, sister, mother, girlfriend, a big disservice. There's a reason why, and by the way, I'm not against revolvers, but there's a reason why there's no issued revolvers anymore. Okay, everything evolves, and firearms are no different. Okay, the pistol now has replaced the revolver. Now, if you want to keep a revolver for a backup gun, or that's your primary gun because that's what you love and you've been shooting that since you were knee-high to a duck, swell. But if you're getting somebody new into shooting, it's a good idea to get them involved in pistols. If they decide they want to pick up revolvers down the road, good on them. But at least get them started in mainstream in firearms and tools that are relevant to today.
Now let's talk about some tips for buying your first handgun. If you stick with the four main brands, you're going to have a lot of options for accessory gear, parts, and things like that. And those are Glock, SIG, Smith & Wesson, and Springfield.
So here's the thing on cool guns. Like right now, I've been testing the CZ P10C, which I think is an absolute awesome, outstanding, excellent gun. And it so happens to fit most of the Glock 19 holsters. But it is still yet not as mainstream as say an M&P or Glock 19, even an XD. So, and then we can keep going on the list. We can go down to some awesome guns, the Walthers, the H&Ks, and I'm not taking away from that. I just want you to understand where we're coming from, what our perspective is here. It's just that there's always going to be, when you stick with the main four, there's always going to be a lot more options for you as far as carrying.
One big decision you're going to have to make is the size of the gun you're going to buy. And when it comes to guns, bigger is better.
Now we're going to talk about the size of the firearm. So I have here the M&P Shield and the M&P, not the full size 4.25, but the big boy, the 5-inch. And this is actually Kim's gun. Obviously, we can see here that the size difference is pretty significant, okay? If we just line these up in the back, it's going to be pretty obvious, especially with the colors there. You're going to be able to see there's a significant difference in the grip, significant difference in the actual slide length. There's a significant difference in the width because, of course, this guy's a single stack and this guy's a double stack. The big mistake that Kim was driving at is that a lot of people go out, first gun they buy is this guy, which is a huge mistake, okay? I get it. I totally understand the thought process. I want to carry a gun for a CCW, or I just signed up for a CCW class, so I want to get this gun, and this is what I'm gonna choose, okay? The other option is that a lot of females, a lot of new shooters in general, who are intimidated by the guns in general, right? They come by and they go, well, this doesn't look as intimidating as this, okay? This looks like a huge gun. This looks like a smaller gun. Well, physically that's correct, but we have to understand that we're shooting the same round. We're shooting the same pressure of the round. The only real difference as a shooter is what we call felt recoil, meaning that the same 9mm that goes in this gun goes in this gun. The difference is that when that round goes off, okay, and we have that pressure of the gun. We've got that slide coming back. We've got the discharge coming out. You're going to feel a lot more of that energy, that 35,000 psi of pressure in a gun like this because it has such small amount of mass. It's significantly lighter than this gun. When I say significantly, I mean in regards to you feeling the actual energy coming into your hand. So you're going to have to physically absorb more of that. You're going to feel more of an impulse from that energy as opposed to a full-size gun. Keep in mind as well, regardless of our hand size, Kim's got very small hands, I've got very large hands, but at the end of the day, the fact that we can both get a nice, good two-handed grip on here, we've got tons of videos on how to grip a gun, that's not for today, but I can get a much better grip on this gun, anyone can, than this gun. This is always a compromise. We're compromising the size for concealability because at the end of the day, we can conceal this gun much easier than this gun, but we're not talking about concealment. That's down the road. You're getting the cart before the horse. You're getting that small carry gun before you even really learn the fundamentals of shooting. And that is a mistake a lot of people make. So there is this middle space before I get any further along. So I have my favorite gun, and everybody has a favorite gun. So, but when you talk to somebody, here's a little piece of advice on the side. When you talk to people about guns, they have to say, look, this is my favorite gun, but here's a bunch of other guns that are also good, right? We can't just say it's my favorite because it just happens to be. We gotta have some facts and reasons and experience behind it. So this is the M&P Compact. This is a 4-inch barrel. This is the Glock 19, the infamous Glock 19, one of the most, I shouldn't say that, the most popular carried handgun in America, probably the world. They are of identical size. Yes, I know we're going to argue about a little couple things on how the trigger guard is shaped and so forth and blah, blah, blah. But pretty much identical. Slides, grip lengths, the whole 9 yards, okay? These are the quintessential carry guns. This is, again, the most popular for a reason because, one, they hold quite a few rounds, 15 each. They're double stacks, but yet they're very easy to conceal. When we talk about concealment, we're talking about this portion. It really doesn't matter if the slide is this long. It's the grip that we have to hide, because remember, your pants are here, so this is what we're trying to hide, regardless of what position on your body you hide or where you carry. This is the important part. So these 19 or compact size guns are by far the most popular. Now, if we talk about, excuse me, the thin single stack subcompact, then we've got the medium, right? The compact size. We'll just put this guy in front here. And then, of course, we've got the big daddy of them all, more of your target or competition style or even LEO or military size. There's our sizes, okay? I'm not putting on a table to measure it out. It's pretty common. What's cool about a lot of guns, the M&P in particular, is that I have this nice carry size gun. I can get a flush fit, meaning that the mag sits right here. But they also come with a full-size magazine. Now this full-size magazine is the same magazine that would fit into this particular gun. However, it comes with this sleeve, all right? I would take this off and show you how it fits, but I super glue them on. That's a story for another time to make it more effective for shooting. But when I insert that guy now, remember, I've got the perfect carry size, so to speak. But now I have identical grip sizes. So now it is a full-size grip, and I've really compromised nothing. So in a lot of these guns, in the mid-size area here, and there's a lot of manufacturers, Springfield is another one that does it for sure, where you can get a full-size grip because of the little extension there, and a filler on your mags to fill that gap. Let's say you buy the Big Daddy, and I recommend that you do. It's a sweet shooter, great gun, very, very, very minimal recoil. And by the way, stick with 9mm, just trust me on this one. I can go in a whole dissertation on why, but trust me, 9mm is the way to go. Let's say you buy this gun, and you say, well, yeah, but this gun is too big to carry. Perfect. You shouldn't be carrying it anyway, because you're just now learning the fundamentals. If you can't recite the fundamentals, if you don't know the fundamentals, if you're not confident shooting the gun, right now, today, why the heck would you carry it? That's like saying, I'm not really sure how to use this chainsaw, but I'm going to use it anyway. Bad things are going to happen. So we're not going to carry the gun until we're 100% confident in our abilities and our skill set in order to shoot the gun effectively. Because, of course, we also meet the big S word, stress, and that changes everything. Now, We buy the Big Daddy, we buy the big gun, shoot it, learn it, love it, got all the skills, okay? Got the t-shirt, the whole 9 yards, sweet. So what do we do with this gun? Well, what my recommendation is, rather than trading it in, this has now become your home defense gun. Done. And then we go out and we buy the little fella. Now, little fella can be this little fella, could be this little fella, it doesn't really matter. Whatever fits you, it could be a different brand, it doesn't matter. The point is we're starting out with the big guy, and then we move down to little fella. And now I'm gonna throw out kind of a wild card here. This is one of my favorite guns. This was more of a milestone for me. I was able to purchase this from our company's revenues, which was a big deal. We finally got to a point where we could actually purchase some more expensive hardware and stuff like that and facilities and whatnot. This is the Legion 226 SAO. I'm not gonna get into a bunch of stuff, but this is a very expensive pistol. I mean, this is over $1,000, okay? So it was a big moment for me when I was able to actually obtain a piece of gear like this. Now, on a side note, although this is a super sweet shooting gun, there is some extra stuff on this one. This one happens to have, as you can see here, an external safety lever, okay? I'm not gonna get into the big deal about safeties, no safeties, that's up to you. I can tell you that it doesn't make the gun safer, but it does require a shooter to learn how to manipulate the gun properly in order to use it effectively. Now, this is not a common style of gun anymore. Most of our guns are like this. There is no external safety lever. I didn't say no safeties, I said no external safety lever, okay? So make sure that when you're getting into this process, when you're getting into this journey of shooting, like if you're, you've been shooting for a long time, you're an effective shooter and so forth, take some courses, and you want to get into like more of a fun gun, like this is kind of like, I got a Toyota Camry, right? And then this is my Corvette. You get my point? There's a huge difference there. This is kind of for fun, okay? What you don't want to end up doing is starting to learn on a gun and a system that you're not going to actually carry. So that means that, let's say I'm brand new to shooting, and I spent the last 2 months training with this gun that has an external safety, but I'm actually going to carry this gun. Well, I'm not going to say the time was wasted, but kind of, because all the mechanics, all the things that you're going to be doing are not the same as this. I want to talk about one more important part. This is going back to kind of the levers and safeties and whatnot on guns. This is a double single action pistol, okay? This is not the most popular type of pistols, and for a good reason. Being that this is double single, I'm not going to get into this because it's not a tutorial so much, but you have to learn 2 different trigger pulls. So there's going to be a long, heavy trigger pull, followed by a very short, light trigger pull. And we'll stick with the same brands. This is a SIG 229, and now for my SIG fans, there's a 320. This is a striker fire gun. What you're going to notice here is that this gun always has the same trigger pull. This is regardless of the equipment that you put on it. This gun functions as one trigger pull. So from the first time I pull it out of my holster and fire the first round to the last round when the slide locks back, this trigger pull is the same. This is by far the most common type of carried handgun on the planet. The
best advice we can give anyone when buying their first handgun is to go to the range and actually rent some guns, try them out, see what you like and what you shoot best, because everyone's different. We all have different hand sizes, we all shoot differently. So find out what fits you. We hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, please give us a thumbs up, like, share, comment. We always love to hear from you. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe here on YouTube. Click that little bell so you get notified every time we put a video out. You can find us on Facebook, on Instagram, and we put all of our premium content on Patreon. Until next time, remember, it's always better to be judged by 12 than carried by 6.